So here is an overview of all my Rubik's Cubes. So these are all my 3x3s. And I'll be getting one soon. Another one. So let's start off with the first Rubik's Cube I ever saw. So this was one of my grandmother's cubes. Was one of her 3, and we just played around with it every now and then, and it's gotten a lot worse at turning. So it used to be very stiff, but now it's very loose, way too loose, because sometimes it breaks, and every time it breaks, like, it gets easier to break apart. So you can see it's not flexible really, but it's easy to take out pieces. So let me just try get a piece out. Just like that. So when you're trying to solve this thing, it's very hard, especially if you're turning the yellow layer. So if I were you, I would solve the yellow cross and just forget about turning this side. It is risky because this could fall out while you're solving. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this cube, and I've actually only solved it like 5 times. Then this is my first Rubik's Cube I actually solved. So this is just a random Cheehit cube. The logo is actually starting to fade. I have no idea why, but this is the first cube I have ever solved, and it's actually a really good cube. I recommend this cube for any beginner. But yeah, it used to be like a reasonable speed, but since I've cleaned it, it could turn really fast. So like, it's a bit too fast. But yeah, I recommend this cube for any beginners. But yeah, this is anyways my brother's cube. He got it for his birthday. Now it's time for this cube. Now this is actually technically the first cube I ever got for myself. This was my grandma's, this was my brother's. Now I finally have a cube. So I got this for my birthday, and it turns okay. I would recommend this, but the plastic is a bit cheap, and it is carbon fiber. A lot of my friends have this cube, but like with stickerless, and I think it's really good. The only problem I have with it is because center caps fall off really easily. Like with my friends' ones also, like the center caps fall off very easy. Let me show you. Let me just spam my algorithm. See? And so 1 or 2 center caps fall off every solve, and that makes it very easy to losing them. So that's the only problem I really have with this cube. Now finally, the actual day of my birthday, I got an actual good 3x3. This is the RS3M, and I think it's one of the best cubes for a beginner. And still, if you're actually advanced, like, you can get very far with this cube. The only problem I have with it is it's very slow without any lubricant. And that's not the best with beginner solvers if you really want to get fast. So that's why I'm getting a new 3x3. Because this cube strains my hands when I do one-handed. Why am I so bad at one-handed now? But yeah, I think this is one of the best cubes ever. And yeah, this is the cube I mainly show in my videos. Now it's for my newest cube I got for Christmas, and it's my mini cube. I actually like this. It's cool for challenges. Maybe one day I'll get a big cube, then I compete and whoever can solve the big cube or small cube fastest. So yeah. It doesn't turn nice, but at least isn't prone to popping. But yeah, I think this is actually a cool gift. And that's all my 3x3s. I actually like all of my 3x3s. I just probably use this one the most. And yeah, let's move on to probably the Pyraminxes. So these are all my Pyraminxes. So let me show you the first one I got. So this is the first one I've got, and it's just a random cheap Weilong. And I think it's good, but I wouldn't recommend this for beginners. It's actually really good. Only problem I have with this is because like this side is a bit more stiff, the magnets. This side is more stiff, and the other side is more loose. Like loose, stiff. And the magnets are a bit too weak. But other than that, this is a one that's fine. This used to be my main. Now this is my Pyraminx I got with this cube. So he gave me this cube, and they're actually the exact same one. They just perform way differently. I don't know why. Maybe because this is stickerless. So this is this same cheap old Weilong. It's just a lot more stiff, but the magnets are a bit better, and it just feels the plastic feels a bit more high quality. This used to be my main. I used to use this, then I used this, and eventually that. The reason why I use this is because it was very controllable, but at a certain point it was way too stiff compared to this one. So these two I got for my birthday so one of my friends got this one, and the other friend got this one with this cube. And yeah. But let's move on to this Pyraminx. This is the Pyraminx I recommend for all beginners. Because it's very controllable, but it has a very high TPS. It can turn really fast. And I think this is perfect. Like when I was still using this one, this one felt like a gun cube. So yeah. And this is like just a Chi. Like all my cubes I got for Christmas that you'll see later is just Chi. So far in my collection I only have Moyu and Chi cubes. Yeah. But let's move on to let's do the easy cubes. These are the easy cubes. Now I call this the easy category because I think these are the cubes that beginners find easiest to learn first. So let's move to the 2x2. Now I like this 2x2, but it's not magnetic. Out of all my N-by-Ns, all my main N-by-Ns. But it's still a really good cube. Like if you had to get your first 2x2, I recommend this, but it's really not that expensive to get a magnetic a Chi or Moyu, any kind of cube 2x2. So yeah, I recommend the Chi MS 2x2 because I've heard it's actually really good, but it is a bit of an old cube. This corner cutting is okay, but yeah. And that's my main 2x2. I actually really enjoy it. I'm just planning on getting another 2x2 in the future. Maybe a month from now. Now let's move on to the Clover Cube. Like the 2x2, it's another Chi. Might not look like that, but yeah, I got it. So actually, a funny story is I had a packet with 4 cubes. So I bought a packet of 4 cubes and like extra cubes like the mini cube and what else? You see later. So this came with it and the Pyraminx you saw earlier. But I don't know this was Chihi because obviously that doesn't look like anything like Chihi. But yeah, this is actually my friend's. My friend has the exact same cubes as the one in the 4 packet. So yeah, I have not a lot to say of Clover. The Ivy cube. Nah. I don't really practice it because it's not a really efficient event, but every now and then I teach a beginner or just solve it for fun. Now it's this time for this cube. This is my main cube, my only cube, and I think this is really good. And I just like cube. I think this is not the best for beginner, but it's actually still pretty great. Only problem I have with it is that it's very hard to just hold in your hands. Like other more expensive cubes have like grips or like it's concave so you can hold it a bit better. But other than that, I think this is like a really good cube. And I think this should be everyone's first one. Unless you don't like sticker cubes. And yeah, that's what I think of these first easy cubes. Now let's move on to the hard cubes. So here are all my hard cubes. The cubes that take more than a minute. So yeah, it's my main 4x4. It's just a MoU. I don't know. I think it's a Weilong magnetic one, and it's really good. I recommend this as your first 4x4 for everyone. I have not a lot to say about this cube, but I'm gonna get a new 4x4 eventually. And yeah, that's the 4x4. My main 4x4. Now let's move on to the Megaminx. This monster. Now, when I first saw this, I was like, yo, this is my hardest cube by far. This is nothing compared to it. Now, I knew that this cube is hard, but this looked like it takes between 9 years. Takes between 9 or 10 years. But after a tutorial, I'm like, I should have figured this out. This is actually way more easy than I thought it was. Because Megaminx is actually a lot of fun. Especially if you want to practice F2L. There's a lot of F2L in this cube. And yeah. I have not a lot of things to say about this cube. So let's move on to square one. I don't really practice this, but it's actually a real challenge to solve this every now and then. I still need to memorize the algorithms. So one day between learning 3x3, 2x2, 4x4, and eventually one day 5x5. Between all of those, I'll be learning this cube because it's actually a very interesting cube. My first shape shifting cube, and yeah, and that's my entire collection. I just want to share a funny story about some of my other cubes. So this cube. So my friend. A friend is not an expert cuber. He's like a beginner. And I think this is a funny story because he has heard about us talking about GAN cubes. Now, you know GAN cubes. If you don't know, they're like really expensive cubes. And we talked about how nice and how cool GAN cubes are. So he thought, this is a cool cube. GAN cubes are cool. It's a GAN cube. So when everyone arrived at the party, he told everyone that he had a surprise for me. a Gone cube. Now you didn't tell me, but like everyone's reaction, like my brother and my other friend that actually cubes a lot, were like you were like super surprised and they couldn't believe it. And then like you're not gonna believe what he bought you. And I was like, I don't know, he bought me a car, but I was like, no way, he bought me a gun. This has to be something wrong. But it was something wrong. This is just a misunderstanding. So I opened it up and I was like, oh, nice. Nice. Okay, not so nice. I was still happy with my present because it's a carbon fiber cube. It still looks kind of nice. And yeah, that's my entire cube collection. Hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah.